So this morning I decided to really sit down and go deep and investigate why I am getting so emotional about certain topics still, right? Sometimes it feels like there's not much that can affect me in that kind of way, but there's still something about nature, right? When I hear about projects and things where they destroy like pure, pristine forests and things like that, right? And just to gain some whatever it is, it doesn't even matter, right? But the emotion, we want to get really deep on emotion, and I know a lot of people who watch my videos feel similar in that sense, right? We feel like we have a deep connection to nature, we want to protect it, and it is a sense that it's wrong. So today I explored, and what came up for me, I'm curious what your thoughts are on that too, but I was investigating why I have such strong feelings towards people who make those kind of choices, or who are involved in this in any shape or form. Some very judging thoughts coming out about how this is wrong, how my way of thinking and my way of believing this should be approached is better or right. And as I was doing that, I realized that somehow I had the belief that I think I know better how to handle this or how to live with nature than some of those people who make those decisions. And then it came to me, it's like, oh, that's a silly belief. Because most likely those people who make those decisions, they're very well aware of the impact it has on the environment, but they do it anyway. Right. So then I had to allow myself to sit with that emotion. Yeah, that was heavy. And it's sadness and disgust that came out, right? And then I like to journal, or I write things as they come up, and as you know, I just let them flow, let's put it that way. Sometimes it doesn't even feel like the words are coming from me, but more like they're coming through me. So the sentence came up that this is God expressing pure greed. It's like, wow. Pure greed. Right. And if you had PTSD like myself, you know, we had some other emotions like anxiety, sadness, grief, jealousy, frustration, all those things, you know, you may have experienced them at its purest form too. And when I talk about pure, I mean there is no doubt about this, right? Like they are greedy, acting in greedy ways 100% of the time. Not like today I'm a little bit greedy and I exploit this, and tomorrow I'm feeling shame and guilt and I'm not going to do it. It's like I shouldn't have done that, right? Kind of like almost I indulged in too much chocolate one day, that greed and indulgence, and then the next day you feel like, no, I'm not going to do that again, right? This is not pure greed. And at its purest, what does that feel like in your body? Without the thoughts of whether this is right or wrong, good or bad, just what does greed feel like in my body? And I didn't know at first. I was really struggling with that. I don't know why. I was very disconnected from it. But I realized this morning, for me to have such a reaction to people that I perceive act in greedy ways, like in such a way that it will destroy and impact nature and things like that, just to exploit and get more money and more wealth and that kind of, to have that reaction. Greed must be in me. Right? There must be something sticky for me to have a reaction to. The external world is a reflection, it's a mirror of my internal world, right? And that is really, really difficult, right, to swallow. I think I told that story before. When I was 16, I was going to a boarding school at a Catholic convent, and one of the nuns said once to me, I was angry with a classmate, I can't even remember what it was, and she said to me, that what annoys you in the other is in you. I was so upset, and I didn't understand what she meant with that for so long, but now I really get it, and I always get curious. And something really triggers a reaction in me, such an intense one like that. There's something in me as well. And I couldn't find it for greed. I could not feel or search for it in my body. And then a phrase came up where it's like, where are you milking the system or the milking something? And then it's like, oh my God. Right? Even the silly things like you're going to the shops and, you know, avocados are sold each per piece. Are you picking the biggest avocado? You know, getting the biggest avocado for the price, right? That is greed, right? That is greed. And so that helped me to connect with what that emotion, or what that feels like. And I know your mind might say like-minded, you know, this is not comparable in the scale, in the big scheme of things, but it doesn't, we're not about comparing the impact or the outcome of an action that is done in greed. I just want to get deep in my body. What does greed feel like in my body? I want to know that. I want to go there. Does that make sense? To release those trapped energies, to release yourself from reacting to things that it doesn't serve anyone. If I have a huge emotional reaction to hearing some headline or something, right? And that I can not physically go and stop. No matter how much I want to stop that, right? I cannot as a single person. And it doesn't matter, it's not about that. You want to go right in the experience of greed. And I'm curious to know whether this is a really difficult one for you too. You know, it's like, I always thought it was anger that I cannot, it took me many years to really allow myself to feel that and get curious about what happens in my body with that emotion. And then I realized greed was so much more difficult. The shame, disgust, it's revolting. That I don't even have the right words for what came up for me about that. So as I said, for me, expressing this in words and journaling, like I have the book here with me, you can't see it, but I was just sitting in this spot here. It's like a river. I don't know if you can see. But picking a spot where I just can contemplate a little bit, but I'm not so much concerned about what my mind has to say about all this. I'm curious about how this feels in my body and how I can I go to the center of that sensation, that experience, that with that energy, right? Can I go there? Can I allow it to be? That allowance, that acceptance, not making this right or wrong, good or bad. Just that allowing this to be here. Let it be seen. It wants to be seen. can move however it wants, move freely, right? We don't have to act out of these emotions, but you become very aware. Once you do that, then next time you're in that situation, it's almost magical the way things can shift in the way you behave or respond differently. Again, but it's not right or wrong. Okay, so that's enough, I think, for my sharing my contemplations or my exploration of greed this morning. I'm curious to read your comments and your thoughts about that too.